Hi everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio, and forgive my swollen hand, although it's a lot better. But it really itches, and I have put on so much medicine, so I try not to itch it. So please forgive me if I absentmindedly do it. I'm making a concerted effort. You know, when you tell kids not to scratch, and as an adult you do it. So I am going to do another card today for you in the mini catalog. So a couple of things. The mini catalog starts on September 4th. If you don't have one yet and you're my customer, you should have one, or it should be to you any day now. But if you don't have somebody sending you one, then let me know. I'd be happy to send you your first copy free of charge. If it's been a minute since you've gotten a catalog from a demonstrator, then I have ways to get one to you that include you paying for it and then getting a credit for it with your first purchase. So I want to make sure that if you want one, it's full of so much goodness. Like I have a whole playlist going of things that I've made from this mini. And then on September 4th, the day that it goes live, I will have on my channel, there will be a video and we'll walk through the catalog together. And I have so many samples that I haven't shown you. I've been saving all the ones that my friends have done to put in here, and by then I'll probably have one or two more of my own that the tutorials will be coming. But I have so much stuff. There's so many fun things in here, and just when I think I've gotten everything out of it, then I ordered something else. And sometimes I order something else and I make it be a class. So it's a really good catalog. And then I'm hoping that I have this video up on Monday, which if it's on Monday, then Wednesday, the last Wednesday in September, I will close my Try It class. So here's the first project. You can go to this video and you can learn all about what my Try It classes are. So every time there's a new catalog, I do a class and I call it Try It, because in that class, you can see here, all the cards aren't here. I think I'm missing one or two, but we'll do 10 cards together, and they all feature new papers and new punches. There's no stamping, but we use lots of papers. You'll use new embellishments, all the new embellishments, all the new ribbons, some dies, some folders, some punches. It's a great class that comes with a PDF. Each project has a video, probably, I don't know, I could count them. A lot of them are fun folds, but there's no hard fun folds this time. And then there's a couple of template cards. But the registration for this will close on the last Wednesday. I don't remember the day. I think it's the 28th, but it's the last Wednesday of August. I will close it because we're going to start cutting paper, because I got all the cards designed faster than I thought I might, because everything in it's so fabulous. And then I have another free class. This is a free class with purchase. If you go to this video, you can learn all about, oh, look, it's falling off. And I remember when I made this video, it was still wet. This is the Season of Elegance. So I have a free class if you purchase the suite, and then I have an add-on that is the Shepherd's Care set. So that, if you go to this video or to my website or down below this video, then you can find out all the information. So for today's card, I'm going to use 3 different sets. There's no die cutting. It's really a pretty basic card. I was thinking it's a card that I would have done when I first started stamping and I didn't have a lot of stuff, because it doesn't take a lot of stuff. It uses the watercolor pencils, which for probably the first 2 years that I stamped, of course we're talking, it was last century, it was a long time ago. I've been a demonstrator for almost 30 years, and I was stamping before that. So that was a long time ago. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff out there. There was no internet to buy stuff online. There were no videos to watch. The thought of even recording something with my phone, like, it wasn't even a thought. That didn't exist. So it's kind of a retro style, except I would have embossed. I would have heat embossed, because that was the thing, right? That was the only thing that we could do that was super fancy. I'm not going to heat emboss on this card, but I am going to use my new shimmer solution. So I'm going to use 3 stamp sets. One is the Yuletide Village, and I'm going to use the church. And after I did it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to do the whole little village. It's going to be so much fun. It's like a Gilmore Girls, right? And we are getting ready to go on vacation in New England for the fall. So that really is, oh, look, scratching. Exciting, and I could probably scrapbook that and color it in the right way and make it look fall and not winter. Then I'm going to use this background stamp that's falling snow, and then there are no words. See, if you see this, there's no words. And so I made this card when I was at my girlfriend's house, and I didn't bring any Christmas sentiments with me, but I had this one. I didn't end up stamping with the actual set, but I'm going to use May the Beauty of the Season Fill Your Heart with Joy, because that works for both fall and for winter. and for Christmas. So I am going to use this. Have a Perfectly Lovely Day, I think would be really fun on the inside of a card if you just did the village, like a winter village, if it wasn't Christmassy. But this is our card club set for September. So let's start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to use my shimmer solution, and 100% I know that I will say this and somebody's still going to ask. So then I know that you just like watched the video and didn't listen to me. If you go below this video, I will put the link to how I make my shimmer solution. It is glycerin and Wink of Stella. And then I just put it in this little thing here. So it's all nice and shiny and shimmery, and every time you use it, it has to be reshaken back up. And I've been keeping it this way because otherwise the Wink of Stella is down, and I want it to be at the top. Mine is a little bit more shimmery than yours might need to be, but I like for it to show on camera. So I'm just gonna squirt that onto my big block. I'm going to grab, this is the same blending brush that I have been using since I started doing this technique, and I haven't washed it. I don't wash a lot of my stamp stuff, so it's not shocking if you know me, but there's really no need if it's the only thing you're going to do. So I'm going to cover this background piece with my shimmer solution and then let it dry a second while we color in the church. So because it's a card that doesn't take a lot of fancy tools, it's a great one, I think, like to design now, and then just put your stuff right by the TV, and as you're watching TV over the next couple of months, just work on a few of them. So it's nice and shimmery. It makes it look like, at first I was saying it looks like our old watercolor cardstock, but it's prettier. Not watercolor, shimmer cardstock. It is very, very pretty, and because you can do all the colors, I used to want like Stampin' Up to bring the shimmer cardstock back so bad. If you're in my card club, you know we used it all the time, but now I don't need it because this works perfectly well as a replacement. And I don't know how long I've been using this, but if you go back to gosh, we did the first class I did with these was in early summer because it was the Thoughtful Journey class. So those gals did it, and I've been using that same solution since then. So I'm going to put a little bit on this, but I'll do it at the end. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to stamp with my Memento, and I'm going to use the church in the black. And make sure you have a nice crisp image to color in. And then I'm going to stamp 2 of the little fences. Makes me feel like I'm in Scotland. So we get the 2 little fences. There's no dies for this because, like I said, this is a simple basic card. So we are going to have to cut these out with scissors. But they're really easy. I mean, the fence, you just cut around it, right? And then I have the words that I pulled out from the Autumn Expressions kit. We're just going to stamp these down here so we can trim those out. And then let's color these in. So I grabbed my watercolor pencils, and not only was this what I did for the first year, I had 2 greens, a red, and a black. And I made that work because you can blend them. Of course, now you get this whole little box of all the colors. We have 2 different sets, but this is the basic set, and this is the one you'll need if you want to make this card because it has the pecan and the basic gray in it, and you're going to need those to color your church. But you can mix the colors, so you really don't need a lot of them. So let's start by coloring the trees. So there is snow on the trees, so I'm going to just kind of color around and leave some of the little places with no green, and then that way when I color them in, some of it will look like it has snow on it. So I press really hard when I use my watercolor pencils, and I've had the same pencils for years. Like, I don't even, unless you broke them, I don't understand how you would ever use a full watercolor pencil. So there is my old olive. I'm going to get this. On this, I'm going to do a little bit less of the old olive because on this, I'm going to press harder now with my garden green. And you just sharpen them with a regular pencil sharpener, which this one could stand to be sharpened. I colored with my friends yesterday, so I just pulled these out and they haven't been used. So now I'm going to mix these colors because when we go to blend them, they mix really well. But I love our pencils because they're really inexpensive, and you could get them like for kids in your life who like to stamp with you. I'm going to use Cheri Cobbler. You can use them with water, you can use them with the blender pen, you can use them with the paintbrush, but they're so inexpensive. Now I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to give some light to the inside of my church windows. Then I have my white, so anywhere where there's snow, try not to color on the actual stamped images when you do this, because it will cover it up. And it will be very subtle, because on the vanilla cardstock, if I stamped this on pecan or beige or crumb cake, you would notice the white a little bit more, but you can see it in real life. I know it's not going to pick up great in the camera. We'll hope. And over here where I didn't color, that. And then for my church, I'm going to do a lot of my church in the basic gray. So it's a stone church. The other thing I like about these is you can take them on the go. So when you go on a drive, or you're on the train or on a plane, they don't require any water or anything. You can use water, but they don't have to have it. So you can simply use a blender pen and fit all this stuff. There's nothing that TSA is going to get mad about. There's nothing that's going to spill in the car. So I'm just coloring my church in with the basic gray. Get my steeple. Get part of my stairs, but I want it to look like there's a little bit of snow, so I'm not going to color the whole thing. And then for the highlight of this, I am going to take my basic black and just go down the left side of all of my church sides, all the little sections. Then I have some crushed curry, and I'm going to add it just in the middles. I'll give some depth to that. And then I have pecan pie. Do my door, wooden door. And pecan. And then get these highlight pieces. Oh, look, I missed a window. And my windowsills. And then I have my espresso. I don't even know if these are the colors I did the first time. It's close. So get the roof that doesn't have snow. And then I'm going to do the highlight side of all of my pecan pieces with just a tiny bit of the espresso. And then I'm going to take my blender pen. You want to start with a light color. You want to make sure your tip is clean. So I'm going to start with my yellows, because that's a lighter, and you literally just drag it over that. And so see, now you need to get that off of there. I do have a video that I recently did, just maybe last week, where I used this with that shimmer solution. So it was a dried up blender pen, and it gives new life to your blender pens. But you can see how, where I have the black, it kind of just goes into the gray and shades it. It makes it look like you painted. You need to be careful, because you can't just keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, because your paper will pill. If you want to use tons of color and lots of coloring in, then you'll need to use watercolor cardstock, because if you get too many coats on, this is very vanilla, on any of our basic colors, it can pill. Now, I don't need to get all that off to switch to my pecan, because if it has a little bit of gray on the first things, it'll just blend as a highlight. This part, if you're in a moving vehicle on a tinier design like this, you might not want to do. And then I forgot to do my fence. So let me just grab my gray. And I wanted the fence to look like stone, and I wanted it to look like some of it had snow. So I literally just did a few of the little stone pieces. And the whole time I color it, I just want to go back to Scotland. And then just kind of dab those in. I didn't want to have to wash my blender pen off again before I went to the green. And now let's do our trees. And remember when you're doing it that you have part of it that you don't want to do, because it's tempting to just color it all in. So on this, I'm kind of just like pushing up and down, and that blends the colors together. And it helps from going into all the spaces, so I can keep some of those whites. And I'll get my wreath. And then my bow. So now I'm just going to grab my snips, and I'm going to hand trim these out. Now we have this piece that's shimmery, and we're going to make it into our background. So when I use the background stamps, I tend to just leave them in here. And I didn't wash this from yesterday because, like I said, I don't wash a lot of my stuff. I have like washing days, and that's when they all get washed. So this is a really pretty background stamp. I'm going to take my pecan pie. And when I'm done with this card, it's Friday, it's the weekend, and it's getting later than I had wanted it to be because I like my summers, and there's not many Fridays left. There's not much of summer left, so I'm gonna go out and read by the pool. It's not super hot, so I don't know if I'll just try to get in and not get wet. So now I'm gonna take my shimmer piece, just pop this over my hair, and then just press. But if I get some ink on my fingers, it's okay, because I'm gonna go get in the pool. You could put this on the big block. That's what these are actually for. Now I'm going to take, isn't that pretty? I'm gonna take my card, and I'm not gonna have, it's not folded yet, because this way it'll get everywhere right up there. I didn't re-ink it. I'm just gonna use whatever ink's left on there, and it's only gonna be the edges that show anyways. And it kind of cleans off your stamp. So just put this right back in here and wait till cleaning day. These are easy to just take to the sink and run off with water. And then I'm going to take this one. I just want a little bit of shimmer around the edges of my pecan. I'm going to kind of go down towards the back, so the back of my card has some shimmer on it. Now let's fold this. You can see where the cardstock looks dark. That's just because it's wet from the glycerin. It does dry, and it dries the same color, so it doesn't keep that dark color. It goes back to its original shade. There's no ribbon on this. Basic, didn't have ribbon back when I used to stamp. I'm going to add this on here. Sometimes when the glycerin is wet, it's hard to get this stuff to stick. So that was where I did this piece first, and we'll hope that it has enough sticky in it right now that it stays. I'll grab my sentiment. Just add it here to the top. And then here's my church. When I cut it out, you can see I just trimmed around it. If you're not a huge fan of fussy cutting, one big hint or tip is to stamp on the same color that your background will be, because then anywhere you've cut around it, they just blend together. So I want my church to be raised up. Add a couple of dimensionals. And we're going to put embellishments, which I don't remember how long it was till we had embellishments, but not when I first started stamping, that's for sure. So I'm going to add this about here. It doesn't really matter because you can mess with this stuff, and I didn't press hard, so if I need to move it, I can. I'm going to add my tree first, I'm going to move it. I want it to be over a little bit more. And see, if you don't press, you can still move. That's better. Give myself a little bit more room. So I have my tree here. I'm just going to build the tiniest of scenes. And grab my fence. In fact, you could cut this if you've made this piece, if you've put this too close and you want it to be over a little longer. And this will cover up the bottom of my tree. And I want it to just go flush as well to the edge of the card. Kind of pulls in with that. And then grab your other piece of fence. Can't you imagine doing the whole village? There is another little tree as well, but I didn't think my church scene needed it. Just match this back up so it looks like the fence goes all the way along the back. And then I thought, so here was my thought. I thought about using, where are they? I didn't use them, but I was going to show them to you. I just had them. Thought about using the snowflakes. This is not them. There they are. I left them where I could show you. So I thought about using these, and I think the white would be fun, how it would kind of brighten up the card a little bit. But these are my favorite. They go with the Nests of Winter, I think is what it's called. And I mean, you could put all the colors on here, but I just wanted the ones that are the vanilla to kind of look like the snow. So or snowflakes. I picked a big one to be on top of the tree. And you really could do the basic beige or even this rosy color for the top of the tree. And then I'm just going to add 2 there. Just highlights. Like I said, simple card. They're all going to look pretty much the same depending on your coloring. Let's see what colors I chose when I wasn't at home. Well, this is a little lower. You know, I didn't make this card today, so I'm just doing it complete from memory. And I took my glasses off so I couldn't see far away. But pretty much the same. So this one I just kept it down flush to the card. Doesn't matter. This is lower, that's higher. Oh, and I did add a little bit of shimmer to kind of tone this down so it matches a little bit. But you want to do it after that's had plenty of time to dry. And see this, how it's already starting to get lighter, like it turns back in. You can see just the shimmer and not the color. So there you go. Make sure you join me for catalog kickoff. I've been kicking off catalogs for almost 30 years and I've loved them all the same. It used to be in person and I used to have clean my house and have people come over. But this way you can do it as soon as you get up on September 4th and have a look along with me. Have a great one. Bye.